Hi, this is Becca.
And this is Kyla.
And
you are listening to Chatterbox.
If you love what we do here, please give us a like and a share, and please subscribe to our channel. We love building this community, and we want you to be part of this community. So if you would like to learn about interesting material, then please join us for these weekly chats. This venture of podcasting is seriously one of the most fulfilling things that I have ever done in my life. Every week, coming up with a new topic, researching it, and delivering this content to the best of our abilities is so much fun. It feels like I'm going to school again. Like I'm like literally so inspired by, like, I have so many interests.
It's awakening your brain too. It's nice,
Yeah.
Instead of just doing the same stuff at work every day.
Yes, and it's just like, it's so nice to be able to like research things that I'm passionate about, but not have to submit it to a teacher who's gonna like peer review it, or you know what I mean?
Someone
Like,
who's interested in hearing it.
yes. So if you love what we do here, then please join us. And if you are new here for this episode, then please subscribe. But to those who listened to my episode last week with me and Eric, just so you know, Eric was very nervous. I thought that he did great. So if you have any encouragement or feedback, please comment on my last episode and tell him how good he did. We talked about schizophrenia, and it was a wild topic. I learned so much.
How long did it go till?
It was like an hour and 40 minutes. So
I mean, that's pretty long, but that's a good time. And I think for his first time, our first time was,
we were very nervous.
I don't think we essentially didn't a flow escape well as we do now
Yeah,
well, and not that we didn't do, I don't really think we did bad, but like that first episode really, I mean, it was your first episode, so for him just coming in like 12th episode, your in first time, so I guess give him a break. Love him. Comment back on last episode.
Yeah, say, you did good, bro. Give him a clap emoji.
Don't be too girly. Make it manly.
Yeah.
I'm like, make it manly.
For real, give him some encouragement, though. We were so nervous our first episode recording, so towards the end of the episode, he was like, I feel like you're trying to tell me something. I'm like, what? He's like, I feel like you think that I have this. I was like, no,
oh shit.
I was like,
maybe that's in your head.
I think you think that you have this. And he goes, I think that you think that I think that you think that I have this.
Oh my gosh. I said, well, maybe you need to go figure that out for yourself at home. Or, I'm sorry.
I said
down in the other room.
I was like, maybe you need to get that checked out. Like,
yeah, maybe if you're thinking that about yourself, that's your own thought. I had no...
I know.
That's something you gotta figure out. Let's go, Robbins.
So funny. But Kyla last weekend was in Hawaii. In the tropics. So
Hawaii.
Kyla, before we get into the topic for today, I want to know, what was your favorite part of the trip?
Can I have 3 favorite parts?
Yes. Talk loud.
Okay, so I guess my first favorite thing, I guess we'll just start with the first thing that I saw was Kilauea erupting, which I was super excited about. It was our first thing we did. I woke up at like 4 in the morning, and then we went out hiking, and I'm just walking up, and I just see the lava, and it's just erupting, and I took a deep breath. I couldn't breathe for a minute. I held my breath. I was like, I remember, and then I like, in the video, I took a video, I was like, holy shit, like, because and then throughout the time I was on vacation, I really realized how special it was, because locals haven't seen it. Like, the research guy I talked to that actually came down when they did like the helicopter went out and did some type of thing once the lava flowed out, and he was talking about it, and he's like, yeah, like the height that I got to see, all that has not happened in such a long time. Yeah, you see like the lava flow on the ground, but this was full blown over the fucking ledge, like 2 feet
into the water and all that.
like so like there's like a line and there's a peak and they measure that how high the lava flow is over like where the collapse is. So it was really high because there was 2 flows, and then at one point one of the flows disappeared and went into the other flow, which made it taller. And I witnessed all of that. And
That's awesome.
so that was the whole time, the whole trip. I couldn't get over it. I talked about it at least once to 5 times a day to Trapper or somebody. I wanted to tell somebody about it. I was looking at people like, and I heard people talking about the volcano, and I'm sitting here like, I have this fucking video, and other people missed it. A lot of people didn't get to see it. So
That's fucking awesome.
blessed. So that was amazing, and I don't know if I'll ever see that again. And then also number 2 was we were snorkeling by ourselves. We didn't pay for this. We had snorkel gear from our Airbnb because, fuck a hotel, fuck a resort. And so don't get a resort in Hawaii, get an Airbnb. Find like a place that, offers like snorkel equipment, beach gear, because you really won't get that. So we took the snorkel gear out, and I saw a bunch of cool fish, obviously, but then I started to hear dolphins, and then I heard people freaking out about something, and then there was dolphins all of a sudden right next to me, and I looked over. I didn't even know they were right next to me, and I just started squealing, and then I started to try to talk to them. This is the funny thing. This is so funny because I wasn't thinking about this this topic that we're gonna do. But yeah, I was like, I'm like trying to see but I'm like, oh my God, what if they fucking really came at me? I'm like, what if they really like fucked me up or like did some weird shit like because I tried to talk to them? But yeah, they didn't. They left. But yeah, I got to see a dolphin. I could have touched it. It was that close to me. A mom and her baby, and I got it on video on my Insta360. I'm so happy about that. And also, like, we'll just add to the animal factor. I got to see like Hawaiian sea turtles. They're endangered. They were so cute. And I got to see manta rays and go snorkeling with manta rays at night. And that's like a once in a lifetime experience. Manta rays are freaking humongous.
Oh my God.
Definitely got a little seasick in the water, like not like on the boat, in the water, because I'm sitting there and it was choppy as shit. 15 minutes in, I was like, focus, Kyla. Focus. I should have fucking take a pill. And last but not least was going above one of the mountains. It used to be a volcano. It's called Mauna Kea. And I could see the sunset above the clouds, which you don't often get to do that either. So yeah, I was above the clouds, and we had the perfect sky. I saw a rainbow in the clouds above the sky, or above the clouds right by the sun, and I don't know, just witnessing that, and going up to like 900,000 feet elevation, I could really feel it. Oh my God, when I was looking up like the effects of it, I'm sitting here like on the phone, I'm like, but I can't breathe because it takes away your breath. It's harder to walk. Like there's a lot of different things. Like you could honestly, like if we were to go to the summit, which is at like 11 or 12,000 feet, you can pay money to do like stargazing. We didn't do that. We just did the basic.
So you hiked 9,000 feet, right?
We went and drove up 9,000 feet. And then we hiked up this little tiny thing right by the visitor center by Mauna Kea, but you can actually go up to the summit. We didn't do that. It's like $300, but there's like snow at the peak, and you can go see some like really, really, it's like one of the best places to see stars in the world is like there. We didn't do that, but we did see the sunset, and it was really pretty above the clouds. I mean, I've never ever done that in my life, so.
That's amazing.
There was a lot of cool stuff I seen though.
That's so cool, dude. I obviously haven't been to Hawaii yet, but I don't know if I'll be able to go next year, but I would love to go.
Go to the national park, go to Hawaii. I'm like, went to the national park, obviously. We also seen what was it? We said Mauna Loa. That is one of the biggest volcanoes in the world. I don't know. The fact that I was around basically the most active volcano in the world. I think it's the biggest, Mauna Loa. I think it is the biggest. Don't count that. If it isn't the biggest, it's one of the two. It's the biggest volcano in the world, and I don't know, like, just to be surrounded by and then the green sand beach. I went to go see that green sand beach, 1 in 4 in the world. To go see so many things that you could only really see there is just fucking crazy. Like, to go see it all in one place.
That's cool.
I don't know, I'm just crying. I'm about to cry thinking about it.
Oh, your trip gave you like good luck vibes for the rest
I think
of
that
the
was
year.
like my favorite trip I've ever had.
Oh,
Well, also because we got to really explore the island. You know, when I go on a cruise, you're only there for one fucking day.
yeah.
You only get one fucking day, couple hours. So yeah, definitely fly there to go places. Don't go on a cruise to Hawaii. That's way too expensive and it's not worth it. Fucking fly there. If you can make it. I can't even tell you how many people I talked to that have went to over 2 to 3 islands their whole trip that I've took to them. Like, a lot of people will go to Maui for 3 days, Oahu for 5 days, Big Island for 3 days. Like, they'll make it a 2-week trip, and then you can do the inner flying through Hawaiian Airlines, and it's like way cheaper. It's like $100 or something. So yeah, if you guys ever went to Hawaii and you know you're not going to make it back, try to do multiple islands. I mean, it might take up time, but it might be worth it if you're not going to go back a lot more often. So I would recommend island hopping, as a lot of people seem to do it. We were the only ones that were in one island the whole time, but we did a lot. I mean, a lot. If you were to really truly go to the Big Island, you would basically just need to be there. You wouldn't need to go anywhere else.
Yeah, because there's just so much to
And
do.
then also another thing we did, is we went to Hapuna Beach and we went wakeboarding, and I have never wakeboarded in my life. I had no idea what was in store for me. I usually bring your boogie board to a normal lake out here. You're swimming yourself. I was literally, my face was blowing back. I was riding the wave to the to the sand, and I was going so fast, like my whole body, my bikini was throwing up, and my boobs were hanging out. Like,
oh my God.
I had to fix my bikini I was riding the wave it was like riding a surfboard, but
probably
like,
just better to wear a sports bra in
I
those
didn't
waters.
know. Yes, definitely don't wear a normal bikini. I didn't know when we were going to the beach that it was going to be like that. I have videos of me going through the water. I almost like screaming, like, to show you.
Because like you
The
have
wave,
like
it's a legit wave. It's a fucking wave,
it's
dude.
like all the water like surrounding like this little island. Like you're getting like the impact of like those waves from like miles and miles.
And there's specific
away.
like beaches, like that one, I guess, and for like, yeah, that one's really good for wakeboarding. And wakeboarding is like the step below surfing. So like if you're learning to surf and get really good, like wakeboarding is like where you're half on. I mean, I was going up high in the air. Like whenever I was like back, Trapper was all the way down, and I'm like, holy shit. I haven't looked at the videos since, but
I can't wait to see
I had to I lost my goggles.
gone forever?
They were like the Airbnb's goggles. They got lost in the ocean. And
You better go back and get those.
yeah. But yeah, no, that was really fun wakeboarding. I feel like I got to feel the energy of the water. So that was intense.
Like a whole, what was it? She got she got indoctrinated with Hawaii culture.
Hawaii. I learned a lot about their culture through the locals, and we did a tour through the valley, and we learned about like the King Kamehameha.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say his name correctly, but he was a good king. Just talking about basically when Captain Cook came and changed, and basically changed Hawaii for.
They made it like
That
more
could be like a whole thing we talk about, is like the history of Hawaii. I mean, it's actually really interesting learning about all the like deities and the history of the kings, and it was, you don't really hear much about it, but it's very sacred. They use poi, pineapple is what people think of as Hawaii, but really when people think of Hawaii, they should think of poi, is because of a lot of foreigner or people that came on boats, the whole boats, which is the whole canoes, which is these 2 side-by-side canoes in the ocean for 3 months. They had to find a food that would basically not need to be refrigerated, and they made this stuff called poi, and it's not very good, basically. And I tried it in my luau, It's basically, it looked like refried beans, but like more mushy, like a paste. But they were able to survive 3 months in the ocean.
Wow.
Off of this stuff.
Huh.
And like when people like they definitely indoctrinize and like monopolize that fucking pineapple for Hawaii because that is not exactly what Hawaii was known for is pineapples. So it's a fucking lie. I'm like but Hawaii wants to keep their. I don't think they don't want to be bragging about it because they know what they got. They know what they have. They do.
Well,
They don't fucking put pesticides in their fruit like they do here.
wow.
They don't allow it in a lot of places. Yeah. Isn't that fucking annoying that they have the fucking option?
Yeah, I wish we had the option.
They're fucking U.S. American. Like, what?
We want to buy organic food and we gotta fucking pay out the ass for it. It's
No, dude.
ridiculous.
I could get a mango out there for $1 and it doesn't have pesticides on it.
Ah,
I went to the farmer's market.
oh my god.
Mango.
Damn, you're making me want to add this to my trips for next year.
Dude, all the you have it is literally I got to experience so much different diversity in weather too, like with like because it could rain randomly when you're hiking in volcanoes. Like anyway, yeah. I told you I could keep talking about this. So blah 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 blah.
Let's go to Hawaii. I'm just kidding.
Well, next year I'm going to Maui to go to Haleakala. I told Trapper I already knew I'd love it, but I said if we really loved Hawaii, we'd probably go to each island for the next few years, and I already have the order of which island I'm going to. The reasons that I have, and the way Trapper remembers is National Park, Wales, Haleakala, which is Maui, and then Kauai is Jurassic Park. That's where they filmed Jurassic Park.
Oh my
it's a
God.
dream of. That was actually the original island I was gonna go to, Kauai. That's where they filmed Jurassic Park. We're gonna do a fucking helicopter tour.
Dude, that's cool. You know, I was actually talking to somebody at work the other day because Eric says that he wants to go to Australia next year, which I'm like, I don't know about that because it literally is like 2 days to fly there. But he was saying, wait, I think it might be one full day, but I'll
It
have
might
to.
just be like 15, 17 hours, I would
I
say.
think it's like 24.
Really?
Yeah.
I have a friend that lives in New Zealand, so I plan on visiting her, so let's not hope that's it.
Well, I could be wrong, but anyways,
hope you're wrong.
we were talking about going to Australia to see the place where they filmed Mad Max, filmed in like the desert and stuff. You could literally get like ATVs and like rent and like drive out there and like that dusty shit like they did in the movie. And I'm like,
So similar.
I love Mad Max, dude. I
So
love
similar.
Mad Max.
They do the same thing in New Zealand for Lord of the Rings. You can do like a 15-day like they pay for your food, your destination, your stay. It's like 15 to 30 days. They take you to every filming location of Lord of the Rings, and it is fucking insane.
My dad got to stay in one of the Hobbit hotels.
In New Zealand?
Yeah, so he was like staying with a missionary, and they paid for him for one night because they said like it's really expensive. But they were like, we'll let you stay in like the Hobbit hotel. So he was like, my dad was like bending to get in there.
Oh my god, that's so funny. I would love to do that. I literally said when I turn 30, I want to do that. That's what I told Chopper, that we should do that when we turn 30. Is do the New Zealand trek, but that would take a lot of time away, so I'd really have to like be okay with that.
It's like what, like 15 days you said?
You can pick. There's different time frames, and it shows you the trail that it takes you in New Zealand. Basically, you're going around all of New Zealand.
I would much rather if I do go with you. I mean, it's your birthday though, so you pick what you want. But I could probably afford to do like a 10-day trip.
Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't want to do. Oh my god, that was my coffee. Sorry, I wouldn't want to do something too long where I couldn't go on other trips. Basically, is what I mean.
Yeah,
but
same.
I would, dude. Imagine seeing locations. If you guys have seen Lord of the Rings, have you seen the way those views?
Those views are amazing.
Lord of the Rings makes me cry, just like Jurassic Park. I played the Jurassic Park theme song. I was like, na na na. I started crying. I'm like, Theo, go on. Crying.
God.
I literally love Jurassic Park.
I need to watch them again, but I used to watch them with my grandpa when he was around.
I just loved dinosaurs my whole life, so I'm a weirdo.
You and Teddy.
I'm a weirdo.
Teddy's obsessed with dinosaurs too. Teddy's Eric's
I'm a
best
fucking
friend.
girl. I'm like, I love dinos.
You're like almost 30 years old getting like a dino bedspread. Is this your son's? No, it's mine. Like,
I know, this is my fucking room, you fucker. What do you mean, judgmental?
well, we are dragging this on, so sorry if you did not want to hear about Kyla's trip, but I wanted to hear about it.
I feel like you liked it.
Yeah, you better
I
like
feel
it.
like what I did was I gave you inspiration to go because I can tell you how many people actually wrote me and told me how inspired they were and like how happy they were for me. So I hope that my travels can actually encourage people that I know in my life or that knew me from school
To get out the
to
box.
get out there and do something. Like I swear to you, that was one of the biggest thing I like noticed. Is a lot of people wrote me. I was like, they see me.
Oh, they're like
They're really happy that I'm like doing it. I felt
well,
good.
it's good.
Well, they drive the tears away.
Oh, she's like literally crying.
I'm an emotional girl. Beatles is a Beatles.
Kiki cry. She loves to travel. That's like literally like the thing that it's like her soul. Like her soul wants to travel and like she's straight up doing it. So
I literally have a trip in a month. Oh God. Okay. You go ahead and start. Boo
okay.
boo.
Well, our topic for the day is mermaids and dolphins, the aquatic dimension. So we have several stories as well as facts, as well as straight up sightings of mermaids. We have stories about telepathy with dolphins and also why trying to quote unquote communicate with dolphins is illegal. We're going to go into all of that today. So today's going to be a super interesting episode, and this is stuff that I've wanted to learn about for a long time. So long before ships cut through the waves and there were sailors even, there were also stories about sirens, and the first mermaid rose from the depths of human imagination, and her story is very interesting. So, as mermaids are quote unquote just legends, could they be real? This is a valid question. How do dolphins communicate, and what secrets could they share with us or to those who will listen? From ancient sailor tales to new cutting edge marine science, we're going to be exploring the bonds between humans and dolphins as well. So grab your imaginary tail, take a deep breath. We're going to plunge into this whole shebang. So we're going to start with mermaids. So this story is known as the first mother of the waters. So in the ancient city of Ascalon, where the desert meets the sea, the goddess Atargatis. I might not be enunciating that correctly. Atargatis was a Syrian goddess of fertility and protection, for those who do not know, because I did not know. And apparently she had loved a mortal shepherd, but in her divine passion she had unwittingly brought about his death. Overcome with her grief, she threw herself into a sacred lake, but the waters did not let her perish. The waters transformed her. From the waist up, she remained a woman. From below the waist, she became a scaled, shimmering fish. People worshipped her as the mother of the rivers of fertility, and they would offer sacrifices to her by the shore. Centuries later, Greek sailors spoke of her as Deserto or Decito, and they feared her for her songs that would lure ships to the rocks and would also whisper through the waves and would lure sailors to their death. So that is apparently the first story of the first mermaid.
Okay. So
So,
basically, it was a human that became a
yeah,
mermaid. Okay.
yes. So then there is the Mermaid's Curse. This is a story from the Lochs of Scotland. A fisherman once found a woman weeping on the rocks, but her tail was glistening in the water like a wet silvery color, and she said, "Help me, help me." And when he came closer, she said, "I will grant you a wish if you help me." But when he helped her and tried to like reach out to her to like pull her into the ship, she vanished. So that's like a Scottish folklore tale.
Kind of like the Loch Ness monster.
Yes.
That's what I think of.
Yes.
Isn't that where that came from?
No, the Loch Ness monster is a it's like a long-necked, almost like a dinosaur.
No. But doesn't it come from there? Scotland.
What, the Loch Ness monster? Yes.
That's what I was saying.
Yes.
Okay.
This one is off the coast of Africa, known as the Ocean's Enchantress. So off the coast of West Africa, a goddess named Mamiwata emerges, and her skin is as dark as midnight, as the locals say. She has jewels around her body that catch the sun, and she offers unimaginable wealth to those who will follow her. But to the ones who do follow her, never return to land. And in Haiti, she has a sister known as La Siren. And La Siren sings in the waves, her voice leading men to paradise, but it is actually their ruin.
Okay, and that's in Africa too. That's similar to like, I mean, the Zimbabwe, so.
Yes, we're going to get into this later, but these stories of mermaids from around the world, they look different. So you have some mermaids that look beautiful, but then you have other mermaids who look very dark and sinister looking. Like they're like the sunken in cheeks, like dark black looking eyes. Some of them are like all white. It's just like crazy how like they're like all these different cultures have different interpretations of what they look like, and we're going to talk about why that is as we continue. So, in Japan, a fisherman once caught an iningayo, which is their form of mermaids, and it has a twisted mouth and a mournful wail. The villagers cried, "Throw it back! Throw it back!" And every time this Ningayo would reach the shore, it would invite storms in, is what the locals would say. One one old man apparently caught one of them, a Ningayo, and ate it.
Oh my God.
And apparently he says that he has gained eternal life. But and then he told his loved ones, he was like, "I will watch you wither away."
Oh, he said that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
You can like literally look this up on TikTok. This is like a whole rabbit hole. So they say that like at elite parties eat mermaids, and a lot of people they argue back and forth, this can't be substantiated. But then there's weird like, videos of people at a party and there's literally like a mermaid looking creature like on a table. I don't know if it's real. I don't know if they just like paid for somebody to like really look like one. Like I don't know. Like but that's like a whole nother rabbit hole on TikTok. We're not gonna go into like, eating mermaids per se, but it is a crazy rabbit hole if you want to go down it. Just look on the TikTok.
Yeah, that's fucking insane.
And it's also kind of disgusting to think about. Like, why would you want to do that? Or, I don't know, it's just weird. But in the Amazon, their version of mermaids is known as the golden skinned Lara. The Lara will sing on the riverbanks. They say that her voice is as sweet as honey, and when she lures people into the water, they will completely vanish. And they say that the locals will say that people who go into the water and never return are joining her in her underwater kingdom.
I don't know, it's crazy how many I didn't know there were so many different ones.
Yeah, there's so many different stories throughout time, and this next one is actually from Christopher Columbus. When Columbus sailed the Caribbean, his men swore that they saw mermaids, but the creatures were not beautiful as they were painted throughout the years. But they they had the body of a manatee, but they had faces that were very strange and disturbing looking. And this was a legend, apparently, but it's just very interesting. And this is from Pirate Blackbeard himself. Apparently, the pirate Blackbeard feared mermaids, and he basically said that the mermaids would live in certain coves. So like in the rock, like those caves, like where the ocean goes in. Apparently that's where he says that they live. And he claimed that there was a mermaid of Zenor who was a musician who would tap crystals like beneath the sea, and it would like it would be like music.
And like kind of call in the guy and like the men. Is that what she would do?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah. When it comes to mermaids, everybody knows about Disney's Ariel. But mermaids are not as sweet and as loving as they want to like portray it in Disney.
Oh, I remember. I've heard of the original Little Mermaid story from like what they depict Disney depicted it from.
What's the original?
Basically, like, you know, she doesn't get her soul back and doesn't get Eric, and it's just like it's just a bad ending.
Oh, really?
Like a lot.
So there's like an alternative movie for
It's basically where Disney would get these stories. Like I
Oh, so like what inspired the story?
some of them, yeah. Yeah, so I have to look into it again, but I remember it was just I thought this is what it was going to be at first, but yeah, there was a tale basically of, you know, her trying to give her soul up for a human and then her not getting her true love, and then it just didn't go well. It wasn't a happy ending. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it didn't end like how Disney made it, and it was not a happy ending, basically.
You know, when me and Eric first got together, like, it was actually one of our questions that we, you know, like, we talk about, like, movies and shit, and I asked him, I was like, what's your favorite Disney movie? And he goes, Ariel, duh. And I'm like, why? And he was like, Prince Eric gets the redhead beautiful girl. And I was like, oh my god!
Hey, that's perfect. Hey, that's perfect.
Bruh. Because I'm a redhead, so I was really...
Good for you.
I was like,
that was good.
I was like, you're my Prince Eric, I guess. And I've always liked redheads.
Oh my god, Eric. He's like, is it because of the fucking movie he liked it? Like, he's like, yeah, I just like redheads too.
Well, he said that he also enjoyed the boobies. So, her being...
I've always loved The Little Mermaid, and he is not about to ruin it for me. That's my favorite movie too, Eric. And we're not going to talk about her clamshell animated boobs that aren't even... There's not even a bump there to make them look like there's even anything. She was 16! Like, oh my god, clamshell!
He'd be like swooning over her. Like, pretty.
She really is pretty though.
I was not allowed to watch that movie through most of my childhood because my parents were saying that she was teaching little girls to want to dress naked. Bruh. Like,
If I could make a word for my face.
like she's like major eye roll right now.
I know my eye. It's like half eye roll. I'm like, no, my eyes are quincing. I'm like, I don't even know what the word is. What the fuck?
Dude, my parents wouldn't let me watch so much stuff because of that. Like, it's so
Well, I watched
funny.
fucking Jackass growing up, and like one time there was like an episode on, I think it was like One Tree Hill, and they were about to do some like dirty stuff, and I felt awkward as shit. I was like, my grandma gonna love. Like right here, I was like,
Oh,
I felt fucking awkward as shit.
Dude, my parents would like, get out the room, we're gonna fast forward, or you gotta wait for the scene to be over. My parents were like super fucking protective.
Okay, yeah, so it's okay, random. The Hans Christian Andersens. Is that what you had? Is that what you had?
I did not have that.
Or hear Andersen's tale and think of Sweet and Loathsome. So basically, it's the mermaid after becoming human loses her voice and faces agonizing pain. And if the prince marries someone else, she turns into sea foam, losing her chance at an immortal soul. So basically, she takes the risk, and then if the prince doesn't fall in love with her, and that's what happens. Like, there was a dark the dark side to the Little Mermaid.
Hmm.
Like the original story.
I did not know that.
Hans Christian Andersen's. The Little Mermaid, captivated by human prince, makes a deal with the sea witch to become human, trading her voice for legs. But with the steep price, agonizing pain while walking, and the potential loss of her soul if the prince marries another, the prince, who is unaware of the mermaid's true nature, falls in love with another woman, leading to the mermaid's despair and the fulfillment of the sea witch's curse. If the prince marries another, the mermaid is doomed to die and become sea foam, losing her chance at an immortal soul. However, in some retellings, the mermaid's self-sacrifice and pure love allow the spirit to chance to earn a human soul entry to heaven. So, basically, but the original story is she turns to foam.
Oh my god, dude.
So she took that risk.
I need to freaking watch this movie again. I watched it since I was like a kid.
Well, that's the good version.
Oh yeah, but like
Really, girl, that's my favorite. Yeah, that shit by heart.
Dude, I watched Pocahontas a few weeks ago, and it was like during my like time of the month. I was like super emotional. I have Pocahontas on. Eric was sleeping upstairs. He walks downstairs, and he goes like, I was like crying. I was like, what are you? What is happening right now? Because that song "Colors of the Wind" was on.
Oh God.
I started crying, and then he was just like, "What? What is happening right now?" And I was like, "Cry for a minute." And he goes, "What is wrong? What's wrong?"
Oh my God, if Chopper tried to do that in that moment, I'd be like, get off me. Because I'm like already feeling I do not like people catching me when I'm crying during watching a movie or a TV show. I always have hated that. Like, I would go to the movies with my grandma and she'd be crying, and I'm like, fuck, I can't fucking cry now. Like, if my grandma's crying too, I cannot cry with my grandma. Hell to the no. I don't know what it was. I just had this, I don't know what it is. It's just inside me. So I would be like this, I'd be like this, pulling my eyes down as much as I can. I'm like trying to dry them out.
Like, don't cry.
Yeah. And Chopper, I do not want him seeing me. I'll like make sure I'll put a pillow next to me if I start crying. If he comes in, like, I feel like I'll avoid that shit for sure. I don't know. I'm a weirdo. Even though I cry all the time.
Like giving me a hug while I cry. I just don't want him to like smother me. So like,
It's my job.
It's like, oh my god.
Trapper he'll ask for me a hug, and that makes me feel better. I don't know what it is, but because of my job with him, it's just with him because why?
Kiki just needs to cry it out sometimes.
No, and I need permission for you to hug me, even though you don't. For him, though, yeah. He's like, can I have a hug? And I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay. I'm a fucking weirdo. I'm weird. Chatterbox bitches.
So I actually have several witness accounts that we're going to get into. And this first story is from the year 1403. This was in the Netherlands near Edam, and the witnesses was actually a group of village women. So on one stormy morning, as the winds howled, a group of Dutch women hurried along the shoreline checking for flood damage, and they spotted a figure that was thrashing in the reeds. They said it was a woman who was naked and shivering. She had long hair that was matted in the seaweed, and when they pulled her to safety, they wrapped her in a cloak. But when they did pull her out of the sea, they were shocked to see that from her hip down, she was not a human. She had very delicate, translucent looking fins, and her skin was pale as the foam of the sea. And when she spoke, her voice was almost in like a sighing manner, and nobody could understand the language that she was speaking. And the villagers took her in, teaching her how to spin wool and wear clothes. She never grew legs, but she learned to walk awkwardly from her tail, supported by people who were helping her walk. They called her Mermaids van Edam, which means the mermaid of Edam. And for years she lived among them, very silent and sad-eyed. And when she died, They buried her in a local churchyard, although some say this is just all legend, but she's never been dug up or anything like that, so...
I wonder why she didn't, like, say that, or I guess not to say, I guess, because she couldn't talk, but why she didn't just leave if she didn't, like, did she want to be with them?
No, probably not. I mean, she was sad.
Sad-eyed, right? So I wonder what made her stay. Obviously, she wasn't saved. She was kept there as, like...
Yeah, because they wanted to teach her how to be, like, a human and stuff, but I don't know. I find that story very interesting. I mean, it's from the year 1403.
That's a weird-ass time that you never hear shit about.
Terrible time for women back then. Oh my god.
Who do you think you are, Finn?
Finn's like a little lion, dude. He's huge.
Literally, Christian and Elijah and them said that the ones that they watch my cat and dog when I'm on vacation, they literally said he's an AI cat. And I was there like, he's a stock car. I'm sitting here thinking like, what the fuck do they mean? Like,
What the fuck? He's an AI cat?
that like he doesn't really do anything. Like, I'm like, I don't know, maybe he's just really weird at their house, but yeah, he's an AI cat to them.
He's a 3D print cat.
He's just there.
He's a big boy. He's like literally double the size of my cat. I'm not even kidding. He's a big boy.
Yeah, he was literally leaning up like a fucking dog at the window when you came in.
Who is that doggy in the window?
Is that an actual song?
Did you ever watch that Cat in the Hat movie?
Yeah.
There's a one point in the movie where he goes, "Who is that American canine in the window?"
And Cat in the Hat with Mike Myers?
Live action one.
Yeah.
We used to say that all the time as kids. It was like one of our favorite sayings. Like when we'd see a dog, we'd be like, "Who is that American canine in the window?"
Huh. I've never ever recalled that part. I've watched it recently, fairly.
Really? We'll have to look that up.
That Becca in the window.
Becca in the window. Which, by the way, super random, but I have a new nickname at work. They said my rapper name is Two Tone.
I thought you said two-toed.
No, they call me Two Tone Becky. And I said, that's my rapper name. And then one of them said, no, that's your stripper name. And I was like, you wish that was my stripper name.
K Rizzle.
Wait, say it again.
I'm just K Rizzle.
We got K Rizzle and Two Tone Becky.
Oh,
We should start some fucking TikTok random beef.
that would be our radio show. Two-tone and K Rizzle in the morning.
Which, by the way, who else is really enjoying this Alabama beef with Bad Baby? Because I'm loving it.
Still going on? Even after the whole week I was gone, it's still going on?
It's still trending, bruh. Like,
Get sticky! She playing with Bad Baby and they know she got a mouth, so...
Dude.
And I love that for her.
I do love that for her.
That's not a bad thing, but you say something, she gonna say something back.
She's
So,
smart as
what
fuck.
the fuck did you expect? You basically did that. You knew. What did you want? Anyway, yeah.
Bruh. Anyways, it is fucking hilarious. But, to me anyways. I try to talk to Eric about it, and he's just like, I don't give a fuck about these bitches. I'm like, okay.
Okay, well, you're not on TikTok and you don't know shit.
No, literally. I'm like, you're just only on Facebook.
Just like Trapper didn't know about the Dubai chocolate.
Oh my god.
Like, you're not anywhere on the internet.
Our men live under
You're in
rocks.
another world, podcast world. I mean, even though we're making a podcast, he doesn't get on any other internet thing. So, maybe
Yeah.
YouTube.
Both of our men live under a rock, but that's okay. We love them anyway.
That's good. He can stay under his fucking rock.
Well, our next story is the Fiji Mermaids of 1822. The place was located in the South Pacific, and the witnesses was Captain Samuel Barrett Eads and his crew. Captain Eads was a practical man. He did not believe in any superstitions. This was until the day a Fiji fisherman sold him a mummy. It was hideous. It was shrunken. It had a snarling face. It had webbed, clawed hands. And it had a twisted fish's tail. and the fisherman claimed that it was a real mermaid that was drowned in a typhoon. Captain Eads was dreaming of fame and fortune when he bought the creature and sailed for London, but the voyage turned cursed, as they say, and storms battered the ship. Many men whispered on the ship that it was the mummy's glassy eyes that was following them and bringing the storm to them. One sailor, in a fever, swore that he heard the mummy singing at night, but others on the ship claimed that it sounded like a dying animal such as a seal. And when Captain Eads finally displayed the mermaid in a tavern, scientists laughed and they said that this was a grotesque fake. They said that it was a monkey's torso that was stitched to a fish, but Eads insisted until his dying day that there was something unnatural about the corpse, and it was not what scientists in London were saying about it. But it is noted that the Fiji mermaid later toured with P.T. Barnum, becoming one of history's most infamous hoaxes. So apparently it was dubbed later on that the Fiji mermaid was entirely fake. So that's what they want to say anyways. Next, we are going to get into the story of the Banff mermaid. This is the Canadian omen of 1811. This took place in, obviously, Banff, and the witnesses was a parish minister named Reverend Alexander Grigor and other townspeople. So the Reverend Grigor was recording a sermon when a frantic knock came to his door, saying, "Please come quick, sir, there's a devil in the bay." Down at the shore a crowd was already gathered, pointing at a figure that was bobbing in the waves. It had the torso of a muscular man, but the lower half had one large fin that was covered in scales, and it had black eyes, and it was staring at the villagers, letting out a very high-pitched crying noise. And they say that it sounded like a human scream mixed with a dolphin's whistle. And then as it suddenly appeared, it arched its back backward and then vanished completely. The next day, a fishing boat capsized in the exact same spot, drowning all on board, and Reverend Grigor wrote in his journal, "The sea has shown us its phantom, and with it comes a warning." And to this day, locals claim that the Banff merman appears before storms and his voice is carried on the wind.
Sounds like the fucking Loch Ness Monster, motherfucker.
That's fucking nuts.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
I love these encounter stories. So this one is actually very recent, and if there wasn't shit going on in Israel right now, I would try to go to Israel just to see this one specific place. So this encounter happened in 2009. The witnesses were dozens of people in Kyrat. It's Kiryat. And if I mispronounce these names, I'm sorry. I'm an American and I've tried to look up the names of these things, and I am just not very well versed in other languages. So I'm very sorry. So in 2009, the coastal town of Kiryat Yam offered a $1 million reward for proof of mermaids that were seen near the shore. And apparently there had been dozens of townspeople who swore that they spotted a slender figure with silvery skin leaping into the sunset like a dolphin before it would perch on the rocks and comb through her hair with her hands. A fisherman claimed that as he was floating by in his boat, she smiled at him and then dived into the water. A lot of skeptics and tourists claimed that this was obviously a hoax and that they were misidentifying seals. But the town's tourism started to boom, and to this day, visitors will linger at dusk to catch a glimpse or perhaps hear the song of these mermaids. This is in Israel.
Wow, that was very. I was trying to think of how long ago it was. Like, that was very much not that long ago.
Yeah.
That was fucking recent shit.
Yeah. My God. This next one, oh my God. I have been to Washington State and it's just beautiful there. I want to move there eventually, but this story is from Washington State and it is known as the Puget Sound of 1947. So an old man named Henderson, he was fishing in a fog, and he said that the fog was as thick as smoke when he heard a woman singing. He said it almost sounded like an echo that you would hear through like a conch shell. Then, looking around through the fog, he claims that he saw perched on some black rocks near Point Defiance was a figure as pale as the moon, combing her long hair that was as dark as oil. And he basically froze when he saw her and said that her eyes were silvery and glassy and very round. And that it was almost like she didn't even have the ability to blink. He said that she slipped into the water, not with a splash, but a twist, because he saw the scaled tail following her as she jumped into the water. He said that she almost had this like iridescent glow.
Kind of like that book Rainbow Fish.
I loved that book.
That's what I think of.
I love the rainbow fish. For many years, Henderson wrote about his mermaid tales. He also says that he swore that he caught a mermaid in some fish nets one night, but the night was stormy, and he said that when he went to go and like reach for the hand, it just vanished completely.
Really interested. I love mermaids. That's one of my favorite things ever, are mermaids in the world. Like, on top of dinosaurs, I always acted like a mermaid growing up, so. I mean, I can swim so good. I always say I'm a mermaid when I'm in the ocean.
I was obsessed with mermaids as a child.
I still am. Honestly, literally, my bathroom is decorated with mermaid stuff. So,
oh my
like, I got rid of a lot of it, but I had a lot of mermaid stuff. I was trying to just get away from it because I had it for so long. So,
I love mermaids. I'm gonna like teach my son. I'm gonna be like, there are really mermaids out there. Like,
they probably just realized that it's better not to fuck with us.
yeah, for many reasons, which we will get into as we continue to go along. But this one happened in the Zambezi River in 1956, and it's Nyayamani.
Nyayamai. I don't know. Nyayami.
I'm terrible.
Nyayami.
So when the Kariba Dam engineers first had finished dynamiting this gorge, so they blew it up, Foreman Peter Van Ryn had basically said that the Tonga workers were saying that there were mermaids in the water, and he laughed at them, saying that they were just superstitious. But when he watched a diver go into the water and completely vanished, then he started to think that maybe something else was going on. So then things started happening as they were trying to like get through this dam because they were trying to build something. So first they were having
Okay, yeah, I read about this one.
So first they started having equipment failures. Then they were having radio static with like gurgling sounds, but it sounded like women. And finally, diver Jan Kruger surfaced screaming with his wetsuit, which was torn with what looked like claw marks. He said, "They're down there. Women with fish mouths, but they have arms like ours." And his eyes rolled back, and then it's like he like passed out. He came back to and he said, "One tried to kiss me and her teeth were," and then he just passed out again. And the next day, the river rose like a flood with it was not predicted by meteorologists that there was going to be any flooding that day. And apparently that flood swallowed 3 bulldozers, and the Tonga elders were basically saying that the Nyamani's daughters were hungry.
Yeah, it was saying something that you have to like basically give them some type of like
Offering?
yes, to make them happy. To be able to continue their work with the dam. Like they had to like appease the mermaids, and how like foreigners came and tried to build the dam because basically people of where that was, Zimbabwe, or basically we're like, I'm not doing this. There's some girls down there, so they got some other people from not of the area, and they even said it. They're like, I'm not doing this either. And then eventually, once they realized men were getting snatched left and right, left and right,
Oh my god.
they decided to start to appease and give them some like basically offerings.
Yes, so to this day, fishermen near Kariba will throw copper bracelets into the water as a offering. Basically, also a tribute to other fishermen who have perished in the depths. That's really crazy. Imagine you're just like, going through some area and you just see like a ton of like copper bracelets in the water, and you're just like, oh fuck, we shouldn't be here.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to be up in that shit.
Oh god.
Respect it, right? You want to respect the culture, all that stuff. If you're going to go somewhere, you respect what they, expect of you. Respect what they expect, bitch.
Well, I have a few more stories, and these stories are actually from all cultures around the world. These are very quick. So we have the Bristol Channel Horror in England. This was in 1603. The witness was Captain John Whitbourne, and this was actually recorded in a Discourse and Discovery of Newfoundland in 1620. So in the year 1603, being the ship of the Master Richard Whitbone, he espied a creature that he deemed as very strange. He said that half of the creature was woman, with breasts exposed, and her skin was white, but her lower parts like a fish, scaled and shining. She approached the ship. In a mournful tone she cried 3 times, "The hour is come," before vanishing beneath the waves. That night a storm struck the ship, and basically all people on the ship were cast onto the rocks near Wales, and 2 of the men ended up drowning. And the captain says this was no beast. This was a spirit of warning. And Whitbourne's account mirrors the Celtic Murrow legends of the mermaids who foretell doom, and it is told that in Celtic lore that the Murrow will cry thrice as a suggestion of impending doom that is to come.
Yeah.
That's freaking
That's
nuts.
really fucking crazy.
There's the Java Sea abduction in Indonesia in 1771. The witnesses were the Dutch East India Company, particularly sailor Hendrik van Decken. And this is actually from the ship's log, this story. At dawn, the cook Jan Steen went to go haul water to boil, and the ship's sailors heard a splash and then screams. By the time that they reached the whale, he was 20 yards out, gripped by 2 figures. Their torsos looked like native women with long eel-like tails that were coiled but not with any legs. They dragged him far out as he begged, "God save me, God save me." The water bubbled up red where he sank, and that evening they swore that they saw Steen's face floating under the hull of the ship, pressed against the glass, smiling. In the aftermath of this, the crew refused to fish for days, and they ended up kind of like starving because they weren't getting any food. And the ship's captain later cited that this was evidence in a Batavia court that there were mer people, and that 3 other sailors also testified and said that the mermaids were going to possess them.
What the fuck? It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
This next one is something that I have heard about, and I've never really read over it. I've just like heard YouTube videos about it. This is the Okinawan fisherman's bride story of Japan in 1910. And the witnesses were village and elder Tamashiro Umin. And this is actually oral history that was recorded in the Yeyamaya Island folklore. It says, "My grandpa knew a man who caught an ningayo in his net. Not the ugly thing from the temples. This one had a face that resembled his dead wife. She wept silver tears that hardened into pearls. Foolishly he took her home. For a year she lived in a tidal pool, singing to him every night. Then, one moonless tide, she grabbed his wrist and said, 'You will drown with me.' The next morning he was found kneeling in the shallow water. His lungs were filled with salt water. His arms were wrapped around a rotting log, covered in barnacles. But the pearls that he so-called was collecting had turned to sand."
So she must have like created them, assuming?
What, the pearls?
Yeah.
Well, they say that when she killed him or whatever, like she vanished. So when she vanished, the pearls vanished.
They were a part of her.
Yes. So pearls actually, they say that the mermaids, they actually have babies and they like lay eggs that they look like pearls, is what they say.
I've never ever heard of that, so that's interesting.
Yeah. So
I like that.
in the cultural context of the Okinawan lore, it warns that the ningayo is a disease bringer. And this tale serves as a deter for fishermen to disturb sacred waters where they may be.
Yeah, basically don't go there to screw us all over.
Yeah, or screw yourself over.
Yeah. Bring your bad luck to us.
This story is called the Congo River Seduction of 1954. The witnesses were Belgian colonial engineer Jacques Morel.
Jaquez.
Jacques.
I'm just kidding.
Jacques. This is actually recorded in a private diary. He says, "The workers refused to dredge near the bend that they called the Mamiwata's bed. So I went myself at dusk one day, and I saw her, a woman wasted deep into the water, skin that was blue and black. Sure, her hair was in braids coiled with what looked like living snakes. She beckoned to me, and I waded in the water. The water was warm as blood. Then her hand closed in on mine, and I felt scales in between my fingers. I jerked back, and she laughed, showing me teeth that looked like they were filed to points. For weeks after, she whispered that she marked me, and 3 months later I was put into an invalid home with a fever, and no doctor could name what illness that I had."
A mermaid marked him? Like, what? But she didn't kill him right then and there?
Yeah.
That's cool. I don't know.
It's just interesting that this was in a diary, though. Like, this is a diary entry.
I love listening to these.
I know, they're so cool. Similar reports near the Congo's rapids have even shown that in 2018, a construction crew abandoned equipment after claiming that there were fish women that were slitting their ropes every night.
Hey, I mean, I feel like more likely stuff is going to happen where there's less video footage, people that have phones, like more rustic things aren't being destroyed. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's amazing. I love these stories. Well, I don't love what's happening to these people. I don't want people to get hurt. But
No,
it's just like fascinating hearing these stories from other cultures. But the next story is the disappearing of children from Longgur. Loggur. It's Loggur. This is in Ireland in 1838. The witnesses are multiple villagers. This was documented in a Chronicle newspaper, actually, in July of 1838. It says, 3 children gathering rushes by the lake have vanished. Search parties have found only their shoes arranged in a strange circle on a flat stone in the water. An old woman had confessed that she had seen a lady with green hair watching from the reeds that afternoon of the 3 children. Days later, a shepherd heard laughter under the water, peered in, and he saw 3 children, pale, wide-eyed, and their mouths moving as if they were singing, but no sound from above the water. Their hair had turned into the color of the pond weeds.
She took them as her children.
It is possible.
It's so cool that there's like different colors of hair and stuff so far. Black, green.
Yes, so that's like the next thing that we're gonna get into after these
I
stories.
know, I can't
is,
wait.
Like, why,
Yeah, that's what you're. Yeah.
why they look different across other cultures, and it's so interesting to hear why. But basically, the Law Gur is actually famed for the Lady of the Lake, who steals souls to replenish her fading immortality. So apparently she takes children so she can continue to live.
I mean, that shit makes sense though. I mean, that's in a lot of stories.
Mm-hmm. The next is the Ice Mermaids of Nuuk, Greenland, in 1922. The witnesses were Inuit hunters, and this is actually found in a Danish journal. I was checking seal straps when the ice sang to me. It was not the normal groans. This was actually like a melody, like a mother's song. Then I saw them. 3 women with pale like packed snow floating in a melting pool of ice. Their eyes were pupilless. They were white as the sky. And one reached out to me, and her fingers were webbed and very long. I ran, and when I returned with others, we only found a seal carcass with its belly slit open, and it looked like it had been eaten by human teeth.
Like the teeth fucking fell out while they were eating that damn thing. Oh my gosh.
It's like you can see like the bite marks.
Okay.
And polar researchers have recorded unexplained aquatic vocalizations near Greenland's glaciers. And they say that this is the Kalupalik. And the Kalupalik are mermaids, which are not a monolithic species, but just as human cultures vary across the world, so do the mermaid legends that describe strikingly different physical traits, behaviors, and abilities of their origins. So, here's a breakdown of all of the different mermaids across cultures from around the world, what their appearance looks like, and what their traits are.
Yeah, I'm really excited too.
So, the European mermaids, which is the Melusine, the Sirens, and the Selkies, they have the appearance of pale skin, flowing blonde or red hair, luminous eyes, and often have green or silver tails. Their traits are beautiful, but deadly, luring sailors to drown. They say that some can shed their tails on land, such as the Selkies of the Celtic lore, which wear the seal skin. The Melusine, which is what the French has dubbed as the double tail. So they say that these have two tails off of their bodies.
That's fucking cool. I fucking love mermaids.
Then there's the Mermaid of Warsaw, which is known for its golden scales, which is usually holding a sword. There's the African water spirits, known as the Mamiwata, the Lasiren, and the Zimbabwe's river maidens. Their appearance is dark or blue-blacked skin, with normally braided hair that is adorned with jewels or living snakes. They say that sometimes they are half fish or they are just like a snake. Just one.
Like a serpent type of like being.
Yeah, like more of like serpent style, yeah.
Okay.
They say that their traits are very vengeful. So they say that the Mamiwata grants wealth if you give her your complete devotion. Very interesting. Then there is the Zimbabwe mermaids, which are linked to the Nyanyamani. They have crocodile-like traits. So they have like long mouths, okay? They have like the teeth, but they have like hair and like braids.
Okay. I can see it. I'm thinking of it. I'm envisioning it.
Then there's the Congo Basin mermaids. They are known for having glowing golden eyes and voices that induce trances.
So it's kind of interesting to think that they aren't only in the sea, but in other areas.
In rivers.
Mm-hmm. It makes sense. To each their own territory.
Mm-hmm. Then there's the Asian mermaids, which is the Ningayo, Jairorin, and then there's the Savanamaka. Their appearance is... Actually, they all have different appearances. So, the Japanese Ningayo is known... Ningyo? Am I saying Ningyo?
Yeah,
Ningyo?
Ningyo.
It's not Ningayo. It's Ningyo. I'm messing this up. I'm sorry, guys. The Japanese Ningyo is a monstrous, sharp-teeth, monkey-looking creature, which resembles human, but has more like animal traits. The Chinese Jiaoren is a delicate, pearl-like skin that weeps tears that turn into jewels. So interesting. Then there's the Thai Savanamaka, which is a golden-tailed lotus flowers in her hair. Typically females in all three of these.
There's a lot more women, obviously, than men, I would assume.
Yes. And their traits are the Ningyo grants immortality to those who bring it its flesh. It is also known for being like a storm warning. Then there's the Jairorin, which weaves magical silks underwater.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yes. So there used to be like a major silk trade that was going on in China, and it is speculated that that's where some of the silks were coming from, was these underwater Jairorin.
Huh. Like someone had to connect.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if you know a mermaid, you ain't just gonna be telling everybody.
Yeah, because people would think you're crazy. In the Inuit culture, the Brazil's Lara is known for the copper-skinned with hypnotic singing voices. The Inuit Kalupalik is a green-skinned, long-clawed being with hollow black pouches for eyes that are said to lure children. The Sedna is a half-woman, half-seal with 7 fingers that can morph into other sea animals. And their traits, the Lara lures men to underwater palaces, and the Kalupalik hums to hypnotize their victims.
That reminds me of something from Twilight, the Kalupalik.
The Kalupalik?
Yeah.
From which one?
It has to do with the wolves.
Oh,
I forget what it is. It's like the tails of the wolves.
Oh, huh. I never even thought about that.
It made me think of it.
And on this rainy weekend, I honestly might just like rewatch Twilight again because
I probably can't wait to go to Olympic to experience that.
we did that for our honeymoon. It was so amazing. And then we ended up in Forks, Washington, which I did not know. Bruh. Well, the last ones we will go through is the Oceanic and Pacific mermen and merwomen, known as the Hyena, the Adora, and the Fiji mermaids. Their appearances of the Polynesian hyena is the volcanic black-haired shark-tooth women who ride the rainbow waves. So the rainbow waves is when the light catches the wave and creates like a rainbow effect, which is apparently like when they emerge,
Oh,
apparently.
that's fucking cool.
Yes. Then there's the Solomon Islands, the Adaro. These are the blue-skinned dorsal fin, and they are said to like fly in the air, such as like the flying fish. Their traits of the Adaro say that they shoot poisonous flying fish as their arrows. And then the Fiji mermaids were described as monkey fish hybrid looking creatures by the sailors. And that's from the hoax that we talked about, the Fiji mermaids.
Okay, I was gonna say like they literally said it wasn't even real, but that's what they dubbed it to be.
Yeah. So maybe that's really what they look like, is like monkey looking creatures. Yeah. So this begs the question, why do mermaids across all cultures appear different and have different traits? Well, the answer for this is environmental adaptation. So they say in the Arctic, such as the Kalupalik, they have blubbery pale skin because the waters are so icy. They say that the tropical mermaids, such as the Lara and the Mamiwata, are dark skinned to blend in with the rivers and the reefs. There's also cultural symbolism that's associated with these things. So the European mermaids reflect the fears of female seduction. The African and indigenous mermaids represent nature's wrath or bounty. So like able to get very wealthy by their jewels. Then there is the human hybridization theories. So cryptozoologists suggest that mermen and merwomen, merfolk, they could be an undiscovered branch of hominids who adapted to aquatic life, leading to a regional subspecies around the world.
Okay, that'd be fucking crazy cool. But weird. How did that start?
Honestly, I feel like that's probably the truth. Because there's so many different sightings. Like if you look on TikTok and just look up mermaid sightings, you're going to see videos. There was actually one video of a guy who went into a cove in the Solomon Islands and he had snorkel gear and he went down beneath and he thought that he heard like singing beneath the water. And he literally has a video of a merm woman floating to the top above him. And it was like humming in the water. But yeah, it's like a real video.
That's really cool. I've not seen that before. I mean, and I've looked up mermaid videos.
Yes. So you have to look up mermaid sightings and you can find like actual videos. Like there's also videos of like fishermen pulling up something that literally has like a webbed hand or fin like slapping out at them when they try to pull the net in. But then when they try to open up the net, it'll completely disappear. Like just vanish. So the thought behind this is these mer people are like interdimensional, so they can just like vanish at will. That's like the theory behind why they can just like vanish into thin air.
Huh. I've seen that video of this guy that he basically was out on like a cargo ship.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this forever ago, but he like calls out and he like hears it. he hears the voice of it.
It's like a scream, kind
It's
of.
like,
Yeah.
and then like there's a video of him getting it of a being swimming in the water at like a fast speed, and it could
on the ship, right? It was like
next to the ship, but you couldn't like. I mean, what else would be like indirectly following the ship like that? And if it were like a dolphin, it'd be more than one. It just doesn't make sense that for anything to be. He said it like there was another video. He's like, oh, she followed me back to the port. Like this guy was making countless videos about it, but this was a very recent one. Like just very recent.
Yeah, this one was like within the last 5 years.
Mhm.
I know the exact video that
He
you're
had
talking
like curly
about.
hair, that guy.
Yep,
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's really cool though because that video, you can't fake that video.
Yeah, you can't fake that stuff, but like scientists, like Western scientists, will just try to disprove it and be like, that was just a fish. That was just this or that. They're just very dismissive of anything.
That is probably real, that's why.
Mm-hmm. And the shared traits across all mermaids around the world, despite their differences in appearance, share the gills and lung capacity to breathe underwater and also breathe air. They also share these supernatural voices, such as singing, humming, or crying, that actually produces a tangible effect on humans. The also other shared trait is the taboo relationships with humans that often lead to fatal or transformative experiences. Modern interpretations theorize that these are just seals that have experienced some type of genetic mutation that have inspired these legends, which I call absolute BS on that one. Modern scientists will also say that these are fictional races, the version of the Pirates of the Caribbean, their grotesque view of like what the mermaids. They basically say that this is just fiction played on the fears of people. But why would they say that when all cultures around the world have experienced this independently throughout time?
It seems as though they were getting that information for those movies from like history stories, probably because to make it look as though like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can change and be beautiful also.
Yes, so some mermaids look beautiful, but then others look like demons.
But can do both. Scary. But I think in that Pirates movie, they could be like sweet looking, and then when they went to go get you, they like their faces turn to the evil look.
Oh my god. We were just talking about this on our trip to Michigan last week, and we were like, we seriously need to do a Pirates in the Caribbean, like,
You've not watched it a lot?
I haven't seen them in so long, like,
since I was a kid. Basically, like, the mermaids are really beautiful, and then, like, they're singing to you, and the guys are, like,
so they're, like,
so mesmerized, and then they're, like, and then when they go, you, like, their faces turn, and then they can change their faces. It was pretty cool.
I'm literally looking up what their mermaids look like. So this is what they look like?
And then whenever they'd come into attack, I wonder if they'd show a face of her.
This?
Yeah, see, then their face would turn, like, the teeth and stuff.
Oh my god.
But they'd be all sweet, and then...
So this is from the fourth one. Okay.
Yeah. On Stranger... I think it's on Stranger Tides or something.
I'm gonna have to freaking watch this later. Oh.
I love those movies. I watch them all the time. I mean, I've just always... I don't know. Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, Pirates of the Caribbean, Jurassic Park, all that shit.
So, our final thought here on why the mermaids vary across different cultures and also vary in the waters that they inhabit. And it is said that each culture is shaped by their own fears, needs, and imaginations of the cultures that birthed these stories. So, the question is, where do mermaids come from? After we've gone through all that, they are so fascinating, but where do they come from? So the theory is mermaids have evolved alongside humans as aquatic primates. So they say that there is a branch of hominids. So like there's like Homo erectus, that's human. So then they say that there's something like Homo aquaticus, which basically has like webbed fingers, bioluminescent, and fish-like tails. They say that because the ocean has only been explored to the floor of the ocean, only 20% of the ocean, they say that it is very possible that there are intelligent cephalopods that are undiscovered and that have evolved with some human-like traits. People have wondered, how do they reproduce? Why would they lure men into the water if they weren't trying to do something with them or get something from them? Or why would they lure children into the water if they weren't trying to like turn them into what they are? So it is speculated that mer women, lay eggs and they are like giant pearls. And you can find them in like coral caves. But in Native American cultures, they say that the merfolk can transition from human to the fish-like tails. So they can have a live birth by when they develop like their legs and stuff. But then they turn back into.
Oh, that's fucking insane.
Yes.
It's really cool.
So it is possible that if they do reproduce, they lay eggs or they have live births, such as, basically turning back into like a human-like creature to spread their legs to give birth. But the weakness in this theory is there are apparently no fossils on record or DNA evidence to support this.
Or is there? Or are they just lying?
Or are they lying like they do about everything else? Who knows? The theory is, when it comes to their origins, mermaids are not from this world, but belong to an interdimensional planet. And many myths say that mermaids curse humans and that they don't like us. And in the West African cultures, they say that the Mamiwata is a water spirit. It is not an animal or a human, but it is a force of nature. But in medieval Europe, they said that mermaids were fallen angels or nature deities. So the other question is, why can they disappear at will? And many accounts say that mermaids vanish suddenly because they are shapeshifters. So they have a underwater realm and they only become visible when they choose to be. The weakness in this theory is you can't really scientifically prove that. So.
And everybody always needs proof. Like, legitimate, like, let's get a video. Like, then that would ruin, like, their whole everything about them if it were true. So it's better for them things that are kept a secret.
Well, it is also speculated that mermaids are interdimensional travelers and or some type of like alien underwater creature. And there have been sudden appearances, such as the sightings that we talked about earlier, about how they just kind of like materialize out of nowhere. And it is speculated in certain naval logs of declassified Pentagon reports saying that there are unidentified submersive objects moving like a craft, but could these craft be associated with these mermaids? Just a thought. Why can't we, as humans, just go out and find them anywhere? And that is maybe because they are able to phase in and out of our reality. The only weakness in that theory is this is only speculative. Nobody can pinpoint the exact nature of these strange encounters. The other theory is humans are wired to believe in mermaids because of our collective consciousness. So, the ocean is our planet's greatest mystery, and our brains fill this unknown mystery with these human-like figures, which is known for collective consciousness memory. So they say that the symbol of the sea's danger and the sea's beauty is the mermaids. So, a lot of sailors who have nearly drowned have reported seeing water people, which were deemed to be drowning hallucinations. The weakness in this theory also is this does not explain the identical descriptions across isolated cultures, which is literally just incredible to think about. The conclusion to the mermaids is we cannot rule them out because the sea has only been mapped 20% of the entire sea floor. There was something known as the giant squids, which scientists said these are just myths, until 2004 when a marine biologist actually discovered the giant squid.
Well, because sometimes you're just not meant to find certain things that are so far deep. It's just like, leave it alone. I know, it's like, obviously I want to see it, but...
But there are consistent global myths across nearly every coastal culture about mermaids, with shockingly similar details in isolated cultural settings. So, modern sightings still continue, but whether mermaids are flesh and blood creatures, interdimensional beings, or psychological manifestations, humanity's obsession with them will continue, most likely, and we are drawn to the mysterious things of the ocean, and it's really hard to believe something that is beyond our understanding. So, that is all we have on the mermaids. We are going to get into the dolphins. So, when it comes to dolphins, we are going to go into the case of dolphins as non-human intelligences. So, dolphins have brains that are 40% more cerebral cortex folds than humans. They actually are able to recognize themselves in a mirror. Dolphins mourn their dead, and they actually give each other names with a series of unique whistles and clicks. And the most unsettling part about this information is that their brains have evolved completely separately from ours, and their intelligence is just incredible. And it has been speculated that dolphin DNA does contain unknown DNA sequences that do not match any known species on Earth.
Interesting.
In 2019,
That's crazy.
yeah. In 2019, Navy footage showed dolphin pods circling a USO, which is a unidentified submerged object off the coast of Puerto Rico, before the USO shot into the sky at impossible speeds. And it is known that the Dogon tribe of Mali claims that their gods are amphibious dolphin-headed beings that came from Sirius, which is a star. And modern astronomers found Sirius, which is surrounded by an unknown dense object, which is they speculate is water, like a portal.
Okay. So
So,
Sirius is it's a real star.
yes. And there have been many experiments with dolphins throughout the years. There's the Project CETI, which is CETI of the 1960s. The US Navy tried to teach dolphins English, and the results broke every scientific paradigm, which basically the subject Peter, a bottlenose dolphin, learned how to mimic hello and ball with eerie synthetic tones. But Peter had developed an obsession with researcher Margaret Howe Lavaut, which he attempted to mate with her daily. And when he separated from her, he drowned himself in a suicide, which is unheard of in wild dolphins.
Oh my god, that was that lady?
Mm-hmm. There is the subject Lizzie, which is a Pacific white-sided dolphin. Lizzie could count by emitting the correct number of clicks for numbers up to 10. And the night that the program was shut down, she emitted a 20-minute tonal sequence that made every dog within a 3-mile radius howl.
So what happened with her? I wonder what happened. I wonder what happened with her, I guess.
I do not have her fate, unfortunately. I have another whistleblower testimony from 2017. A former technician claimed that CT's real goal was to decode dolphins' sonic hypnosis. And basically, dolphins' sonic hypnosis can influence human brainwaves with sound and basically put both of the brainwaves of the dolphins and the humans in sync with each other within a certain range.
Oh, wow.
And you were freaking with those dolphins in the water.
And I was sitting there trying to make those noises. I did a couple times, and then I thought, I'm like, what if it really just came at me real quick out of the, because truthfully, in those videos, like, when you start to get deeper and now to snorkel, everything is so fuzzy, and it wasn't even the fog of my, like, goggles at one point. It was just, I was so deep out there in the snorkeling area, I couldn't see the coral reef anymore. It was just all fuzzy around me. So if you just got to look for a dark figure coming close to you, that is the scariest thing about, like, I guess just snorkeling.
Oh
like,
my God.
is, I mean, obviously there was no, like, sharks or whatever, but, like, you really, it is, like, within, like, feet, like, within a couple feet, you cannot see anything, really. It's so fuzzy.
And she said that she could, like, almost touch the dolphin.
But that, and I was, then
You were,
eventually
like,
they were gone.
geeking out under the water. You're like,
I'll have to show you the video.
I wonder if there's, like, a device that you can, like, make clicks with in the water, because
That would
that's
be-
how they, like, that's how
What if
they-
I brought, like, my little clicker over there that I use for Finn, and like,
Oh
I have
my
that
God.
clicker, it's right over there, that gray thing.
Oh my God, because they speak in clicks. So, like, what if you, like, did
Oh my
that?
God, I would have been scared. What if it tried to, like, just, I don't know. Honestly, I don't really know. I don't want to know. Because, yeah.
Well, what about the law that is against talking or communicating with wild dolphins?
I didn't actually try to communicate with them, just so you know, government.
I'm calling the police on
I
you.
didn't know, like, it came near me. And then, yeah.
Well, in 1991, the Marine Mammal Protection Act was put into effect, which made it illegal for humans to interact with wild dolphins. And what was the reason? The reason was to preserve their natural behaviors. But an insider to the Navy said that dolphins are so smart that they know where submarines hide. They also react to USOs under the water before sonar can detect them by making these, like, clicking noises with each other to warn each other about a craft that's beneath the water.
Oh, wow. So basically, if people were to use dolphins to their ability, it could be used in a bad way.
Yes. And dolphins actually, like that one CIA, like, project that they were doing in the 1960s, one of them tried to mate with a human. Yeah. So they actually
Maybe that's where mermaids come from.
Yeah, they develop feelings of love, which is
Maybe
crazy.
that's where mermaids come from.
I mean, honestly, it
Making
might be
those
true.
noises, there's tones.
Well, there is also the reason that they made this act, which is because they say that fishermen who have befriended wild dolphins report visions, lucid dreams, and an obsession with the ocean. They say that the dolphins are calling them back to them, which is why they made this law.
Oh my, because they could, huh.
Yeah. So
they were, like, going out of their way to like, speak to them then, to, like,
yeah,
get this.
because they couldn't get them out of their mind. Like, they were having, like, dreams and visions of them.
So, like, these, I wonder how many times they'd have to go out there to actually get that. You know what I mean? I'm curious.
So, a theory is that dolphins are not from Earth and that they are from another planet. And obviously, it's just a theory. They say that dolphins don't just, like, see objects, but they, like, map these objects with like a quantum vibration, and it's called echolocation. So apparently, they only sleep with one hemisphere of their brain while the other one is entirely awake. So they can still perceive everything that's going on around them as they are sleeping. And then it is also known in ancient Sumerian texts, they describe that the dolphins are the Abgal, which is a dolphin-headed being who came from the void to teach mankind. So, dolphins were talked about all the way in ancient Sumerian texts. So, just saying, I find that very, very interesting. This is known as the last transmission. Dr. John Lilly was a pioneer of the belief in dolphin communication. He wrote in his journal, "They have been trying to tell us about the water, not the sea, but the water that is inside of us. The same water that remembers and the same water that dreams." And in his last shaking letter, he ends it with, "They are not the pets. We are." Oh, that gave me chills saying that. That's crazy.
So, so the pioneer of dolphin communication.
He was like the first like believer that dolphins communicate with each other and with humans.
They've been trying to tell us about the water, not the sea, the water inside us, the same water that remembers, the same water that dreams. Huh. So what does that mean then? Like, I don't know, I'm trying to like really feel deeply about that.
We're
Like,
gonna have to like look up Dr. John Lilly. We could probably do like a whole episode on him as the
they've been
pioneer of
trying to
dolphin
tell us about
communication.
the water, not the water inside us.
We are like
The water
70% water.
Yes, we are. And then they're trying to strip that shit away from us with all that pop
Mm-hmm.
and all that fake fucking water. Water is your best friend.
Well, this next story, this one is crazy. So apparently, Russians spy dolphins of the Black Sea in 1985. This is known as the Dolphin Whisperers story. So, Soviet dolphins apparently never blinked. That's what the Lieutenant Yuri Markov said. And he would train these dolphins to be like magnetic plant mines. So, he codenamed one of the military dolphins Ketch, which worked in shifts, and basically their dorsal fins were harnesses carrying explosives. But something went wrong in 1985. One night, Markov watched through the underwater cameras as dolphin number 227, called Cosmos, suddenly stopped mid-mission as it hovered before the U.S. subhulls, and it emitted a rapid series of clicks. The American sonars later confessed that they heard something impossible, a sound that was noted as Morse code. Then, Cosmos did something which was unthinkable, and instead of attaching the mine to the explosives that it was carrying, it nudged it away with its snout and then pressed its forehead to the submarine's steel skin as if it was listening. And the next morning, all 7 dolphins in the program refused to obey any more orders, and they gathered at the pool's edge and started staring at the handlers, and the report called this deliberate, unnerving eye contact. 3 days later, the head scientist of this program, Dr. Petrov, drowned in his own bathtub with no water in his lungs, and the autopsy noted that his face was frozen in a smile.
What the hell?
The program was shut down in 1991, but Ukrainian fishermen near Odessa still tell stories of ghost dolphins that surface beside the boats and get tangled in the strange metal wires of harnesses, but then they just like disappear and vanish.
That's weird that they had dolphins for the military. And what did they like realize what they were doing and they're like, we're not helping you anymore.
Because he like nudged the explosives away.
And then also like was leaning up to the US so they knew that they were bad or something. I
Well,
don't
he
know.
just like went up to the ship and just put its forehead on it.
Like it was listening to what they were saying.
But then the US ships were saying that they heard Morse code in the water, so maybe that Morse code was saying like it was warning you there's something bad going on or something bad's about to happen. How does a dolphin know Morse code?
I don't know.
It's fucking
I
nuts.
know.
Then there is the earthquake prophets, known as the Dolphins. In Tachi, Japan, in March 10th, 2011, Old Man Hiroshi knew that dolphins were trying to warn them because 3 nights before the Tahuku earthquake, they said that there were dolphins that were circling the harbor, slapping their tails in unison, clicking so loud that it was sending vibrations into the top of the water. Then on March 8th, they did something that no dolphin should be able to do, which they herded all of the fish in the harbor like sheep. And basically, the dolphins drove all the mackerel and squids up to the shallows, beaching them in perfect silver piles, almost as like an offering. On the morning of March 10th, 2011, a tsunami basically tore through this area, and all of the dolphins that were there for like the previous 3 days vanished. The sea swallowed up 18,000 people.
Holy shit.
Scientists later discovered that dolphins can detect these electric signals under the water, which are emitted by shifting tectonic plates. And the old man Hiroshi swears that their eyes were whispering and saying, "We're sorry." Gives me chills.
Like they knew they couldn't do nothing to help them besides.
But they like brought all these fish to the surface, and that was like getting them up because the water was going to swallow them up the next day.
It's crazy that no one like thought of that as a sign. I mean, I don't know. They're probably just like, oh my god, that's so cool, like dolphins.
Mm-hmm. In the Gulf of Mexico, not the Gulf of America, there were the fishermen who dreamed. And this was about Captain Ray Monteros. He made a rule for his ship that said none of his crew members could ever look into the eye of the dolphin for too long, because then they would accept their gifts and would follow them underwater. He had named a bottlenose dolphin Lucky, who had saved him from a shark in 2009, and this is when the dreams started, he said. His first vision, Captain Ray found himself standing on the ocean floor, able to breathe. Lucky circled him by clicking, and he remembers that the clicking became words in his brain, and the clicking sound apparently said, "You're made of the same water that remembers."
Oh wow, that remembers. What did we forget?
Oh my god.
What the fuck are we forgetting? What don't we have anymore?
I love this.
That one hit me right there.
Well, his second dream was he dreamed of an underwater city, not Atlantis, but something much older, with spires of black coral rock, humanoid figures with dolphin-like heads moving through liquid streets. One turned to the captain and held out a sphere of glowing water. When he touched it, he woke up coughing salt water. That's what he claims. The final warning, the final dream. The last summer that he was captain, Lucky apparently brought Ray a human rib cage that was still slick with human tissue and dropped it at his feet. The bones were fused as if a person was like mid-transformation of like something else. And now Ray says that he will never leave the Gulf because he sleeps on a conch shell that is pressed to his ear. His wife says that his pupils have grown to an unnaturally round appearance like a dolphin's. And he complains, "I hear them calling when I'm awake."
Okay.
It's so crazy.
That is crazy.
So here's the truth that no government will admit. Dolphins don't just predict disasters or spy for militaries. they are recording them. So every click, every sonar pulse is like a living archive. It's like a history that's written in the water. One day, when tides rise high enough to drown our cities, these dolphins will basically be like warnings to us, like about like a tsunami or like
Wow,
a
if you
danger.
actually listen.
Yes. So there is the Pangan, Koh Phangan in Thailand. This is present day. The first diver disappears was known as a Swedish backpacker named Eric.
Erik.
Yes, Erik. He had been free diving with a local pod every morning and boasting to others that he had become the alpha male and he could hold his breath for up to 6 minutes. One evening, Eric waded in the surf naked, and his pupils were dilated as black as a dolphin's. And his last words was, "They're showing me the door."
What the hell?
His body was washed up on shore 3 days later. The coroner listed his death as drowning, but Eric's lungs were filled with a bioluminescent algae, which is only found 300 meters down.
So he still died, though.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's weird.
Now the dolphin whisperers of Koh Phangan meet in secret coves at low tide, and they claim that the pods of dolphins are teaching them how to breathe deep into the ocean and like filter this oxygen from the seawater by collapsing their alveoli like some sort of crustacean creatures can.
Wow.
So apparently,
This is very present.
yes, and apparently after Eric, 3 more divers had vanished that year and were last seen floating motionless at the surface.
So it was like they were attempting it or something?
Yes, it was like their last times being seen was like trying to like almost like imitate these dolphins.
Huh.
Then we have the Pentagon's Aquatic Remote Viewers in 1993. This was in San Diego, California, and these were actually declassified documents in 2021. Subject Delta 9 sat strapped to a chair with electrodes mapping his brain waves when LSD hit his bloodstream. The mission was Project Sealight, an attempt to psychologically spy on Soviet submarines using dolphins as living antennas. But Delta 9 did not see submarines. He described a cathedral of liquid crystals where dolphin-like beings with too many eyes floated between pillars of frozen sound, as he describes. One apparently pressed his flipper to his forehead and projected visions. And here are the visions. A map of the Earth's oceans in 2423. Basically saying that in this year, there were no humans, but there were this like chimeric sea creatures which were like part dolphin and part machine. The next vision was a black obelisk which was buried under the Mariana Trench, which was emitting the same 52 hertz that whales emit in their hums.
Okay.
And then the last vision was a warning of clicks that translated to, "You are the first to drown." When Delta 9 awoke, he apparently asked for a pen and paper immediately and began to write 17 pages front to back of coherent glossolalia, which is an unknown script that linguists have identified as a hybrid Phoenician maritime symbols that dolphins use as communications. The project was scrapped after the last 3 subjects said that their hydrophilic psychosis was an obsession with drinking salt water, which would shut down their kidneys after they did these experiments.
So people were dying.
People were literally drinking salt water.
Because they wanted it?
Yes.
That's so weird.
Well, now we have the black dolphins of the Amazon in the Rio Negro, Brazil. And these are actually the tribal elders' testimony. So the Boto dolphins are not like any other dolphins. The shamans say that they are actually the watchers from before the moon. And ancient cultures say that the black dolphins came to Earth when the oceans were boiling, and that their skin is not a pink or a blue because it is basically, they're saying that black dolphins absorb all light. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that is crazy.
So, fishermen who encounter black dolphins say that they experience time slips, losing hours or even days. So, you can find these in the Amazon in Brazil.
The black dolphins?
Mm-hmm. Apparently, if you stare at a black dolphin for too long, they say that you have visions of a second sun that's like behind it.
That'd be interesting. I would want to go stare at one just to see.
You're like, I want to test this shit out.
I want to go down out there and stare at you in the eye and see if I have visions.
Well, there are also reports of teeth falling out and regrow into sharper, more numerous teeth in the area.
Oh.
Yes. So
Well,
I don't know if you want to go looking for it.
Kind of.
So,
I'm just kidding.
in 2019, a research team tagged one black dolphin with a GPS tracker. After tracking it, it drove straight down 1,902 meters. So, 1,902 meters. And then the signal cut off. 3 weeks later, the tracker washed ashore in Africa despite the Amazon's current flowing in the opposite direction. Inside of a single drop of silver fluid that boiled at room temperature and repels mercury, it is noted that when exposed to dolphin vocalizations, it formed perfect geometric shapes, and that local tribes refuse to speak of it now, saying that their children have started sleepwalking into the river, murmuring about the great school in the sky.
What?
Yes. Crazy. We are nearing the end here. A classified 2023 DARPA report, which was leaked by Russian hackers, contains this passage. Brainwave patterns of dolphins suggest that there is a shared consciousness operating on a quantum entanglement principles that are not merely predicting future events, they are observing alternate timelines and selecting outcomes. These studies are connected to the Vela incident of 1979, the bloop of 1997, which is like the discovery of ultra low frequency sounds. Then there is the mermaid corpses of Zimbabwe, a 2021 mass hallucination event. And then apparently the end of one of these files has a handwritten note that says, "They let us see the sonar, and the rest comes in waves."
What does that even mean?
I feel like the dolphins like kind of like drive people like kind of crazy in a way. Like it makes people like kind of like feel like they're like having like a psychotic break because
Yeah.
we can't handle what their brains know.
Yeah, like it's way more. Like what we consider intelligent isn't just machines and technology. It's like communication and stuff. And I mean, if they can keep memory and stuff locked in the sea with their sonar, that's fucking crazy.
Well, in 2013, a team of marine biologists at the Hawaii Institute of Marine Biology made a chilling breakthrough while analyzing the decades of recorded dolphin vocalizations and finally figured out the hidden syntax, which is a complete rule-based structure unlike any animal communication that has been previously documented. And this is how it works. Dolphins communicate with modular click sequences that arrange clicks into words, such as like burst pulse trains that can be rearranged contextually just like human sentences. A single click can mean different things based on its frequency. So it can be a warning or it can be a hello.
Okay.
There is embedded redundancy, so there are critical messages in the repeated harmonics, ensuring that they are heard miles and miles away from each other. There is the Rosetta Dolphin incident of 2016, which captured a captive bottlenose named Nayara.
Yeah, Nayara.
Nayara at the Miami Seaquarium began mimicking researchers' speech, not just sounds, but as grammatical patterns. And when asked via keyboard symbols, "What is the sea?" she responded with a 17-click sequence that analyzed contained mathematical prime numbers, a perfect sine wave of 432 hertz, which is known as the cosmic frequency, which is actually found in ancient Hindu temples. And when the ultrasonic component of the clicks was slowed 20 times, it sounded like a human voice whispering, "The sea is the first church."
Okay.
That's fucking nuts. Oh!
Oh, wow.
A declassified military document reports that the U.S. Navy's listening networks have attempted to decrypt dolphin chatter since the Cold War. And they claim that dolphins have been discussing submarine movements since the Cold War, or probably before it, with 94% accuracy. They also can find USOs at will by just listening, and they can click to each other to tell where they are.
That's crazy cool.
And apparently, they can actually predict tsunamis 48 hours in advance.
They can feel that tectonic plate shift moving. Even if it's just a little bit.
Well, how do humans hack our minds? Well, their giant foreheads are not just fat. It's
Dolphins?
Yeah, they're apparently dolphin brains are like the size of like a melon. And it can vibrate matter at a molecular level from the brain. So that's how when that dolphin went to the bottom of that submarine and started making that Morse code clicks, it was using its head to like vibrate the ship.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
What in the fuck? There's probably so much more that they know that we are never gonna know about.
Absolutely. Neurosonar experiments of 2019 in the Black Sea, Russian neuroscientists exposed human volunteers to dolphin echelon at close range, and these are the results.
Was it echolocation?
Oh, sorry. I did say that wrong. Let me redo that. Russian neuroscientists exposed human volunteers to dolphin echolocation at close range, and here are the results. Subjects were able to solve complex puzzles 300% faster while being scanned. The EEGs showed that synchronized theta waves were shown between the human and the dolphin brains, in sync with each other. In one subject, Maria K. began actually speaking in a tonal language, which was later identified as the hybrid ancient Sumerian dolphin clicks. So then there's the third eye phenomenon, which fishermen who've had prolonged dolphin contact report the vivid dreams. The temporary synesthesia, which is seeing sound as colors. Oh my god, that's fucking awesome.
That would be crazy.
And then
to even envision something like that.
Apparently they also experience spontaneous healing of scars that, like, they say that, like, the dolphins who touch them have, like, healed areas where they've been injured.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So here's kind
That's
of like the dark side of this research. In 2021, a CIA operative, codenamed Drifter, infiltrated a black dolphin cult in the Amazon, and his last transmission is, they're not just communicating with us, they're reprogramming us. The melon is... Then his audio cuts off into 52 minutes of straight dolphin clicks. His body was mummified in brine, and his skull's frontal lobe had honeycombed into 2 perfect 2-millimeter holes.
So what was he saying? The melon is a what?
His audio cuts out into just dolphin clicks.
They're not just communicating, they're reprogramming us.
Dolphins are smarter than us. That is 100% fact.
What was he saying? They're not just communicating, they're reprogramming us. The melon is a... I'm trying to even understand that.
I know, it's so crazy how it just like drops out. So
what melon? Melon the brain?
Yeah, that's what he's talking about.
Oh, okay.
As their brain is the size of a melon. So there is the discovery of 1992 of the 52 hertz Messiah frequency. A single whale emits a call, and the call is always at 52 hertz, which is far higher than any known species. So this has been dubbed as the 52 blue frequency, which has been being tracked across oceans for the last 30 years. Or actually more than that, because...
So it's a whale?
It's like a frequency that whales give, but I mean, it's also... Dolphins give a 432 hertz frequency. But this is, I don't know, it's just very interesting.
That is interesting.
So then, in 2017, the Scripps Institute recorded 52 hertz, known as the Blue Song, and played it back at 1/10 of a speed. The hidden frequencies noted that there was a Fibonacci sequence in pauses between the pulses, and that basically it was carrying the resonance of the Earth, known as the Earth's heartbeat, which is 7.83 hertz. And when sailors were listening to this frequency for 12 hours, 87% reported identical dreams of a giant eye opening underwater.
Interesting. That's really cool.
Yeah. It makes me want to kind of listen to it for 12 hours and see what happens to me.
Yeah. That would be cool. I wouldn't mind. Hey, let's take on a car ride. Just put it on.
Well, apparently there is the Cult of 52. Since 2020, a decentralized group of quote-unquote listeners have been tracking whales near these buoys, apparently. And they claim that the song of the whales induces telepathy between humans and animals. And it's not a whale, but it's a synthetic organism that they claim are the ones who built the oceans. And they say that when it dies, the seas will rise up to reclaim their land. I never knew about this cult.
It seems so real. I believe this shit right now.
Oh, dude. So, what is the Pentagon's interest in these 52 hertz pulses? Well, a classified DARPA document claims that the Pentagon is attempting to synthesize the 52 hertz pulses as a non-lethal weapon because the 52 hertz pulses in mass bonding focus groups produce mass hysteria. And apparently cement structures can crumble after 72 hours of exposure to 52 hertz pulses. One technician claimed that he walked into the sea murmuring, "It's showing me where the door is." So what is the door? Is the door associated with this frequency?
Maybe. It's like when you're at a certain frequency, you're able to see more.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want this exposure of frequency to, because sound and frequencies play a lot of role in our lives that we don't realize.
Because they say that humans now are in a much lower vibration and a lower frequency than they were in the past. Which
There's
is
a
why
reason
humans
for
are
it.
so unkind to each other, and they're just, you know what I mean? Like, it plays into a lot. So,
Oh, it does.
what does all of this mean? It means that dolphins are not just intelligent, but they are like the ancient ocean internet. They have their own language, they have their own transmitter from their brain, and there's also like their frequency, which can be coded into like an alarm system. So the theory is that they're trying to upgrade humanity into what their frequency is. Maybe it's too late. So, final warning. Avoid prolonged exposure to dolphin sonar because you might just start craving salt water or hearing clicks in your dreams.
Oh my god, I hope I don't.
Ugh!
I hope I don't.
So, as the conclusion, we are surfacing from the depths of speculation, and we are obviously left with a lot of questions. So remember that the ocean is Earth's last frontier. There's so many mysteries in the ocean, as only 20% of it has been explored. There are mermaid myths, quote unquote myths, that span the continents for thousands of years. Why do dolphins, which are just mammals, why do they mirror traits that are almost like uniquely human? Do you think that maybe they have parallels that like transfer into our natural world? Well, perhaps the stories that we talked about are not just fiction. Maybe they are fragments of a deeper dialogue that now we are actually being open to hear, that yes, there is a distinguished difference between science and legend and between sonar and song. But maybe if we like look closer and we listen better, maybe we'll actually learn more than just believing whatever Western science tells us.
Please. Do that. Just do it.
So let's keep asking the questions, and let's keep trying to communicate with the dolphins and the mermaids. Just kidding.
I mean, who knows? Try it if you want. Just don't say anything.
So remember to keep it chatty,
Keep it nice,
and
keep it sweet, because we will not be keeping this short.
Love you guys. Have a good week and stay curious.
See you.
Sir, love you all. Bye bye.
Kisses.